Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Brews and Blockchain.
Brews and Blockchain.
Brews and Blockchain.
Brews and Blockchain.
Hey, my name's Brian.
My name's Ross.
You might know us as the Crypto Masters, but we also do this Brews and Blockchain where we just talk about current events in crypto and just kind of shoot the crap. And
Yeah.
while we're having some brews.
Well, yeah, while we're having some brews, and just to note what brew of the day is, it's Powder Day IPA, which, Brian, I chose this. It's from Sierra Nevada. You can find it in the Asheville Mountains, I believe. I could be wrong there. Yeah, Mills River, North Carolina. But yeah, I chose this today, Brian, because, us in the South, we're in the Columbia and Charlotte area, and we just had snow, which is rare, which is crazy. It does not happen. Me in Columbia, it has not happened in like 5 years or something crazy. So it's a Powder Day IPA for us.
All right.
Yeah.
And we have some, you have your old Stein, right? And I have a new Stein. Mine was a gift from a friend, and it is the birth of a nation. It's sort of 3D with the old dudes at the signing the Declaration of Independence.
I like it.
Yeah, it is very cool. And it has a little Miller logo on there, so Miller Brewery put it out. You're going with an Old Faithful there, right?
I'm going Old Faithful today, Brian, because I need some, as we'll get into it in a little bit, I need some Old Faithful love and encouragement to make me feel happy in these possible dark times. I don't know.
So Ross has given a foreshadowing of the topic of today. Really, we're going to focus on one big topic today because it's a big one. And a lot of times on these shows, we'll have 5 or 6 different things going on this week in crypto. Right now, there's really one thing, and that is this correction.
Yeah.
What do we call it? A correction, a dip, a bear market? I'm not sure.
And funny enough, Brian, we kind of started off with, talking about market tops and cycles, and that has dipped into something a little different.
So what Ross is talking about, if you've watched our previous Brews and Blockchain at the end of 2021, we were talking about, when is the big market top, the market blow off going to be? Well, we're still asking that question, but we're not.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem to be any time imminent, like we thought it might have been back then. So this just shows, really nobody knows where the crypto markets are going, including us.
Oh, yeah. No idea.
But it is January 23rd. It's a Sunday here in the U.S. And there's been a substantial market decline in the past, week or so, down to right around today. Bitcoin is trading at around 35,000 range. So it's just everything is down. A whole lot of red across the charts for both BTC and essentially almost all altcoins.
Oh, yeah. Everything's down. A lot of people are sad. Some people are angry. Some people are confused, scared. But I think this shows, one thing I don't want to mention is it kind of shows what we at the Crypto Masters are all about. We're about the long term. So if you've been in crypto as long as we have, we're not in the red in our perspective.
That is true.
We've taken profits. We're profitable. We're in the green. But this just shows if you're in it for the long haul, everything's good. This is bad in the short term, but
yeah. I'll be honest though too. I haven't taken a lot of profits. I haven't taken a lot. I have taken some, but I'm very optimistic about the future of crypto, and so because of that, I have not taken very much. When we get a downturn like this, I just got to decide: am I still optimistic in the future of crypto? And the answer for me is yes. And so I haven't sold any, and I'm not going to.
No, and especially in times like this, I mean, of course, not financial advice, but the last thing you want to think about doing is selling. I mean, what you don't want to think, or what you want to be cautious of, is buying now because, maybe you're catching a falling knife, but
who knows, right?
But who knows, yeah.
Well, so on that point, Ross, you texted me, I don't know, it was yesterday or the day before, when we had a pretty big drop, and you mentioned something you saw from BitBoy.
Yep.
As you probably know, BitBoy, I think, has the biggest following on
Oh
YouTube.
yeah, the Bit Squad it's
yeah.
huge. It's lively. He's got 1.4 million subscribers.
Wow,
So yeah,
nice.
he's got a lot.
Yeah.
And there's been rumors that we thought about collabing with BitBoy, and he wants to collab with us, but not yet, BitBoy. Not yet.
Yeah, we are though
No, just kidding. But yeah,
we're geographically fairly close to him. I think he's in the Atlanta area. So.
Yeah, ATL. We're in SC, so yeah, we're very close. So one day,
But anyway,
maybe one day.
So what was it that BitBoy said?
But yeah, BitBoy is saying, I don't want to put a definitive statement on it, but he's iffy on the bear market, and it's for him. It feels like there's a bear market from what I've watched at his show. That's his live show he does at lunchtime every day. During the week, I should say, but it was on January 21st, so that was 2 days ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's kind of saying we're kind of looking at a bear market, but we're still watching. So yeah.
So they usually waffle. I mean,
yeah.
You either have the ones that say, and we saw this a lot at the end of 2021, that say, oh yeah, my TA tells me we're going to be at least 95,000, BTC by the end of the year, and then they're wrong, and then they have an excuse for that. But.
And that just shows like you can be as smart, you can be as articulate as you want to be, but you cannot predict these things in the short term.
If you can predict the market and you're not a billionaire, then you can't predict the market.
You cannot predict the market.
If you could, you really would be a billionaire. So whenever anybody says, "Oh yeah, I know, I can read this candle and tell you what's going to happen next," okay, show me your billions, because
exactly. And I want to say this for the Bit Squad: if some of the Bit Squad are here, we're not bashing them in any way. We're just proving a point that you just can't predict the market. It's impossible.
I'll say too. I like BitBoy. He does seem like a nice guy. He has a good backstory. He has been in the markets a long time. I listen to him. Doesn't mean I always follow his advice or predictions.
Yeah.
But no one should do that.
So. And I think one day, Brian, we should have a BitBoy Crypto Masters race. The Lambo versus the Tesla. That's what I'm predicting. But maybe one day.
Yeah, he does have a Lambo.
Yeah. So you'll have to take him up on.
I think I could beat him. I think in a short race, my Tesla would beat him. You can't beat those Teslas off the start.
Well, I'll say, crazy. Brian, the first time you took off when you were leaving our studio here in Rock Hill, it was like you just warped out of vision.
Yeah, it's almost like your face is getting blown back.
Yeah, it
like
kind of hurt my neck when I was riding with you one day.
Those G-force chambers, where the guy's mouth goes, it's really fast.
Yeah.
All right, so BitBoy, the challenge is on.
Yeah, and so I did want to mention before we move on to another topic, he did show a really cool chart here that I'll show up in a second to kind of give us a little more hope here. But this is a chart showing the purple is social sentiment, so that kind of takes in like Twitter and Instagram, everything together, kind of seeing like is BitBoy or
is it kind of like the fear and greed gauge?
Similar, yeah. It kind of takes in all like what are people tweeting about Bitcoin? Is it negative? Is it positive? And so these dips, you can see the red rectangle here. He's kind of saying, or one of his analysts was saying that 3 sentiment dips in a row. Usually has a blow off top, and you can, or not a blow off top, but a good northern movement, which is the price in green. So
what is the time period there with those prior 3 dips?
Yeah,
what is
I just hit my mic, but I think that's September of 21. So August, September.
Okay, yeah.
So
when we had our last run up.
Yeah, the last run up.
After the summer, crashed in May, kind of was down in the summer, and then we had the big run up in September. Okay.
Yeah, so that's kind of what they're saying. 3 dips in social sentiment could mean a northern movement. Whether that's true, we'll see. But hey, that's a little hopium for you.
It is, and before we get into some of the possible causes of this, I kind of want to say you sort of can't compare this to past trends that everybody saw, like post halving, about a year to 18 months later, you had the blow off top and then the crash and then the bear market, and that's what everyone was looking for again here. And frankly, I was too. I thought we would get something like that, and we still might. But this is very different. We had, first of all, you had the COVID crash in March of 2020, which that was a black swan. Everybody said, and rightfully so, I think, that was a one-off. We can't read too much into that. But
Yeah,
then,
it took everyone out. So yeah.
yeah, but then we had the unusual thing, at least as far as the previous patterns. In April of this year, we had the big run up. Everything was great. And in May, we had the really unexpected dip. If you want to call it a dip, it was a huge dip, basically 50% or 55%. And then it stayed down for a while through the summer, and then it went back up in the early fall. But again, that was just different than what we'd seen before. So it does kind of seem like maybe those who were saying this time is different, may have been right, or at least they were saying maybe it'll be an extended length of time before we get to the big run up and drop. So that's yet to be seen.
Yeah. And we're not in, I'd say, new territory here. This is, and one thing to mention too is a crypto dip or a crypto, I don't even want to say crash, but a crypto dip in normal trading stocks, whatever, is a crash. This is,
oh yeah,
fluctuations in crypto are very different. So
yeah,
just something to point out.
We see headlines from the mainstream media sometime that says, crypto is in a correction or a bear market, which they define in stocks as a 20% drop. And in crypto, a 20% drop, you're like, what is that?
That's an average Sunday night, Brian.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that. So it's just a different world, and the terminology really needs to be different. But at this level, it is basically almost down half, almost 50% from the all-time high in October or early November. Anyway.
Yeah, early November. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's talk about the possible causes of this, Ross. And the catalyst. And one of the things being talked about is Russia. So Russia has come out with a couple of things. One is, and I'm pretty sure it was the Federal Reserve of Russia said, let's ban crypto mining, let's ban crypto sales, kind of thing. So kind of like China, like let's do what China did, which I don't know why anyone would want to follow that lead, which seemed to be a terribly bad decision on China's part.
Yeah.
But who knows with Russia? But in my mind, and I don't know how much effect this had, but in my mind, this is just the Federal Reserve of Russia. I don't know what kind of power they have there, but I do know that the power in Russia is with one guy.
Yeah.
It's Vladimir Putin, and I don't know that he said anything about it one way or the other. So to me, I'm not too worried about that. Unless Vladimir Putin says we're going to ban Bitcoin mining, I'm not even going to worry about it. And I don't pretend to be an expert in Russian politics, but I do know that they have a dictator.
Well,
and it's a guy named Putin, and unless he says it, it's not going to happen. And if he does say it, probably is going to happen. But I don't know where he stands on that.
yeah, and I wanted to Google this because I wanted to be sure that he actually said this, and this wasn't some weird dream, but Russia's Putin says crypto has value. This is as of like mid-October, but I thought I remember him saying kind of in the positive about crypto. So
I've seen that talked about as one of the catalysts for this dip. And I'm just not buying it. I mean, it's similar in some ways to what we used to see in China. There were several, false alarms on China banning it. If China finally did, but to me, that's universally been seen as a really bad move.
Yeah.
A benefit to the Western countries and especially the U.S. So I don't see Russia wanting to do that. They certainly don't want to benefit the U.S. And again, it all depends on Putin. I give zero weight to what the Federal Reserve of Russia says, unless it has the support of Vladimir Putin. So
I'm totally with you there, and I'd say kind of going into the next topic here, I'd say the bigger issue with crypto right now is the like the world stock, like what are all the world stocks doing?
Sort of the macro environment.
Yeah. So and to talk about that, I'd say the bigger issue in Russia that could have an influence on the crypto market and really markets everywhere is the Ukraine threat and what's going on there. Are they going to invade the Ukraine or are they not? Like that I see as the bigger threat here.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that, Brian?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that would be disastrous for the
Everything.
World economy, at least for some period of time, just because it's such a big negative event in sort of world peace terms, which will have a macro trickle down effect. But I don't know. Again, I'm not purporting to be an expert on this. It appears that they have 100,000 plus troops right on the border. But, to be honest, Putin is a master negotiator. And he's definitely using this as negotiation leverage. He gave, the U.S. and Biden a list of demands that he had, which were ridiculous. But that's the way you negotiate, and that's the way he negotiates. And Biden is seen as weak, and he wants to take advantage of that. So, I agree. That is that's a concern, because if Russia invades the Ukraine, that's a big world event that's going to be negative for the markets.
Yeah. And I would say, we're definitely not, at least, me personally, I'm not big into politics, but it's something you have to look out for if you are an investor, because these things have weight. These things have influence. I mean, if bad things happens in the real world, it affects the market. So,
and that's just kind of, another possible reason is that, crypto now seems to be following the equities markets, right? So a big world event like that would be negative on the equities markets, which at least in the past couple of years, crypto has followed the equities markets. Now, we don't really think it should. You think of Bitcoin as the new gold, as digital gold, right? So gold sort of moves up, at least in inflation times. Inflation will bring down stock market, but gold usually goes up. So, so if Bitcoin's the new gold, it should go up, and sort of everybody in crypto is saying, well, yeah, if we're having high inflation, why isn't Bitcoin going up? But anyway, that's sort of moving on maybe to our next possible catalyst, which is, because we don't know how the Russia-Ukraine thing's going out. I'm hoping it's Putin's using it for leverage in negotiations and not really intent on invading Ukraine. I really hope that.
They're just Putin the crypto market's in a tough spot.
Nice.
Bam.
That's I don't know, a Putin pun. Anyways, so
you're welcome.
I'm gonna hope that doesn't happen. I think it's probably him, using it for negotiation, and probably going to get something out of it, to tell you the truth. But, anyways, we just hope for the best. I don't think that's going to happen. So I put that as a small percentage. I'd say 15% chance of that happening. So include that for what that's worth. But so sort of transitioning from that to another big catalyst, I think, obviously, is the U.S. Federal Reserve. They've said they're going to, and they have started tapering their purchases of these assets, So it's not like they've reversed them or anything. They're just slowing down the process of buying these assets, mortgage bonds and things like that. Mm-hmm. But also they've announced, I believe, 3 possible interest rate increases in 2022. And I believe the market has factored in at least 3, probably more, in my opinion, at this point, because the stock market has been going down in the past week plus as well. So if it turns out that the Fed does, I think that's factored in. So as a possible positive catalyst, the Fed announces at some point, either maybe in February or March, that yes, we're concerned about inflation, which they obviously are, but we're not going to accelerate our rate increases. If they say something like that, stock market will definitely go up, and I think crypto will follow.
Yeah, I like it, Brian. And we had that, even what feels like to me a whisper of the Fed, increase, and then things just, you saw stocks dip, and I can't remember exactly what it was. You probably do better than I do. But
well, it could be a market overreaction, because, you're sort of guessing as what the Fed might do. But, inflation numbers are high in the U.S., and they've got to respond to that. But they're not going to over-respond to that and bring, the market down and make sort of things worse for Americans that have investments in the stock market
Yeah.
and 401ks and things like that. So they've got to really balance it. And they're not, in my opinion, I don't think they're going to overdo it on the inflation fighting by raising rates more than they've already talked about.
Okay.
So
Awesome. Oh, that's good
that
news.
could be positive. So, and for me personally, Ross, I like to look at on-chain data.
Okay.
I kind of like, that's my thing to look at rather than TA. I don't really know. I don't really understand. I follow people who do TA, that analyze the charts. But I'm more of an on-chain person, and to me, the on-chain numbers look good for not only BTC but for alts also.
Okay.
So that's encouraging to me, and that's why I'm still in the market. The only thing on-chain that doesn't look good and hasn't looked good for a while is volume.
Okay.
And when you have low volume, then more minor things like FUD about China banning Bitcoin can have bigger
influence
impacts.
on.
Yes,
Okay.
because volume's low. So with lower volume, a smaller sort of change in sentiment and more, few more sellers can lead to bigger moves. So I'm still bullish on the on-chain data that I'm seeing.
Yeah,
A lot of the things we've talked about in the past.
Yeah, I'm in line with your thought there, Brian, because I feel like far too often TA or technical analysis it's the sexy thing, It's like, oh, this trend, this shape in the market indicates this, it appears to be a perfect recipe for a prediction of the market, and that's just you can never do that, and it's been proven so wrong over and over again.
I know, and I don't want to. I just see so many times that they say, "Oh, this is a perfect cup and handle," or and it just doesn't play out the way they say, and then there's always an excuse for it.
Yeah, and there's always like 20 exceptions for the rule, so it's like, I don't know.
I don't, yeah. So, but the on-chain data that we look at, like RSI. You had some that you looked at as well. Remember that we talked about when we were looking for market tops.
Yeah.
And they're just now down in the zone where it's usually like a buy opportunity. Like they're in the oversold zone.
Yeah, and I'll pull up those charts right now.
RSI, the relative strength index on Bitcoin now is like really low. It's under 30. It depends on if you're looking at the daily or the weekly or the 2-week. But any way you look at it, it's low. You look at the Pure multiple. I think that's good. The Pi cycle top indicator.
Yeah, Pi cycles.
That was one of the things you were looking at. Isn't that now in an area where it's like, okay, this is pretty low, either a buy or hold zone? I would think.
Yeah. That is Pure is
All right. So here's what I'm doing, Ross, and I said this I think on our last show. To me, this is a great opportunity to dollar cost average.
Ooh, yeah.
And
I love that word, Brian.
Right. And I have some coins that I'm big on, and I'm going to maybe list a few of them here. But I've got my a fairly short list of coins that every week, or maybe even twice a week, I'm going to dollar cost average into. Absolutely every Sunday evening, just because Sundays are usually down.
Yeah.
So every Sunday evening, I'm going to buy X dollars of some coin, whether it's BTC, ETH, ADA. I have some others on the list. I like.
Okay.
Yeah, I like Bancor. All of those I'm going to look at, and whatever one I think is down or is oversold, at least in that time frame, I'm going to dollar cost average into.
Okay.
And I sort of, and so for me, it's an absolutely. I'm going to do it on every Sunday evening, and on Wednesday I have the option of doing it.
Oh, okay. I see what you're.
So
I see your playbook here.
If it's down again, okay, I'm going to look at something down in particular. And on this day, it might be Spell. I've started buying some Spell, which I think long term has a good opportunity.
Okay.
Stable coin with the magic internet money.
I was about to say there.
Right. So I think that's anyways, that's one I'm looking at as well. If it's particularly down, and it was brutal for it this weekend, so I bought a little more.
Okay, nice.
But anyway, that's how I'm handling this dip. So what do I think? Do I think we're going to be in a long bear market? I don't think so. But if we are, it's okay. I'm dollar cost averaging.
Yeah.
Right? But I honestly don't think so. I think we're going to We're going to come back. I think the bull market will resume, and if so, I'll be in a good spot. If not, I keep dollar cost averaging.
No, I like it, Brian.
How you handling it? What are you
Yeah,
doing
I
with
mean,
this?
so I did a good portion, not cash out, but profit taking back in like October, kind of taking.
That was a good time to do
Yeah,
it. Man.
and that's not me bragging. That's just me saying, wow, I got kind of
You got
lucky
lucky,
there.
yeah.
So, knocked out a little bit of student loans, and, about a month and a half, 2 months ago, I moved a lot, or a good, small percentage, maybe like 10% of my holdings into some stable coins, kind of like, I'm lying in wait, Brian. I'm just looking at the market. I'm like, where I want to put it. So I've got stuff in stablecoin now. Not anyway thinking about cashing out, but I might start kind of stealing your strategy and doing some dollar cost averaging. But
I got to tell you, so just it's Brews and blockchain, so we can say what we want. But the Cardano has now launched a couple of different DeFi applications. They have the market makers. Sunday Swap.
I was about to say Sunday Swap. I always want to say sushi for some reason, but yeah, Sunday Swap.
To me, I mean, had this not been such a correction, I could see Cardano having a big bump.
Oh man, given the right timing, Cardano has like 50. What feels like 50 things going on in the Cardano ecosystem. Oh my gosh.
It's just a lot coming. It's funny that a lot of people talk about it being a ghost chain because it didn't have DApps, until recently. And from that to now being, oh my God, the chain is overloaded. It's too much going on.
There's a lot going on.
So that just seems to be a great opportunity now while the price is down to dollar cost average into. So that's definitely the top of my list every time I'm looking to put some more into the.
And I
DCA.
forget what the. I'm butchering this story, but there was one wallet they were looking at that had like 7 million or something in tokens, and he did some transaction with that 7 million and paid like 4 cents in fees or something $4 and something outrageously low, So
the volume on Cardano recently has been, as much or more even than Ethereum. And then, the Cardano people will post the amount of fees, in Ethereum gas fees they've paid, however many millions, and then it's literally a small fraction of that, the fees on Cardano.
Yeah.
So when that gets up and running, at least until ETH2 comes along, I mean, there's obviously a good argument that, hey, a lot of people are going to be using the Cardano blockchain. So, that's something to follow. For me, that's something that looks like an opportunity to DCA into.
Yeah, I love Cardano right now. It's just sad that the market kind of played out like it did, but man, given the right timing, it should have exploded.
Yeah, but maybe that opportunity's still there. But, all right, I think we'll be back next week and we'll talk about some more of the developing events in crypto.
Oh yeah, guys, and hey, we've got a lot. We really want to hit 2022 hard. This may be coming out. This episode might be coming out after a little extended break, but we really want to deliver some more content for y'all. So stay tuned, hit that subscribe button, and stay tuned for more Crypto Masters content.
And let us know your comments. We will definitely take a look, and we'll incorporate it in the next show. Thanks, everybody.